Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It is a new week. It is a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures. Let's tell football stories. And let's give our collective advice to our players and a little bit more. Let's rock and roll, squaddies.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Happy Monday to each and every one of you. For those listening on Apple and Spotify and anywhere else where you may get your audio juice, thank you so much for making Highbury Squad part of your day. We appreciate you. A couple of housekeeping bits and bobs. If you missed the post-game show, Arsenal 3, Sunderland 0, it is now available across all of our audio platforms. It's also available for replay, of course, on the YouTube channel. And last week, if you missed the SWOT analysis, a great show with Kenny Ken and Albert JTV, where we went through some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Threat being Manchester City, something you can't control. Anyway, very interesting conversation. Our SWOT analysis also available across audio platforms and on replay on YouTube too. Hi, everyone. At ease, squaddies at ease. Welcome, welcome. Good to see, hear, touch, feel each and every one of you. Might have to change that bit. Hello to our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels, on the road to 20K. Please make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe if it's the first time that you are here. Yes, I'm going to say another unusual hour, although I am thinking from here on till the end of the season, Monday Madness is going to go out at this hour, unless there's a super duper special guest who can only go live at a certain time. So I think from here on in, Monday Madness will be going live at 9:45. It just seems like the best solution in terms of games and my schedule work-wise. And so hopefully that will meet with your approval, squaddies. That a 9:45 start on a Monday is good for you. I have got the thumbs up from the Chief Like Officer, which I am very grateful for. James Curtis, you're not Jennifer Aniston's fiance, James Curtis, are you? Or is his name Jim Curtis? How awesome would it be if you were and you were a gooner and you were in the chat? Let's say hello to a few more of you here, and we'll start getting the advice of some of the squaddies that weren't able to be here and asked me to share their thoughts with them. James Curry says, be proud, enjoy your journey, and know that we are all with you. I'm going to save that one. We'll do a few more of these. So good evening to Peter. Good evening to Seb, who can't be here, popped in to give his bits. Demsec, a silly one. He-Man by the power of Grayskull. I have the power. Oh gosh, is that like He-Man? Or is that like, am I going to be embarrassed now because it's a really important Bible verse or something that I should know about? Anyway, so I thought to myself, I kind of checked out of the football. Watched the Super Bowl yesterday, and it was awful. It was really bad. It was like watching Burnley versus West Ham this season. My Broncos unfortunately didn't make it. Our quarterback was injured before the AFC Championship game. It'd be like losing Declan Rice right now. Will not speak of it, will not think of it, will not say it. And, you know, Broncos would have been a better matchup for the Seahawks. The Patriots were awful. It was all just a really weird Super Bowl, I felt. The whole thing was a bit bizarre. And, you know, great. Then I thought it was nice. I thought it was like a Cinco de Mayo celebration, which was lovely. I thought Bad Bunny did a good job telling stories, and I liked his set, and I liked his symbolism and messaging, and you know, checked out from the football, and then checked into awful football. So then checked out of that as well. And I just wanted to do a show tonight that, you know, I think our Mondays are going to be these shows where we take stock of the weekend and we talk about stuff like we always do, but also maybe not get caught up in some of the madness and the chaos that is going on. And I've just seen a lot of messaging and, Gary Neville saying last week it's Arsenal's to lose. And now it's like we're afraid because City are breathing down our necks. Guys, this is going to be the biggest roller coaster ride you've ever been on, bigger than any other roller coaster ride in a fight towards the end of the season. And these tales and narratives and clickbaity titles and all of it is going to change, and it's gonna evolve, and it's gonna get more vitriolic. It's gonna get more beautiful depending on who the message is coming from. It's gonna get more goady, bantery. The whole thing is just going to be this big old mess between now and May. And we have to prepare for it. And I've talked about it a lot. And I don't want to be the type of, broadcaster that talks about the same thing over and over again. But I do think there are some things that Arsenal need to focus on and some repetitive behaviors that we need to get into in order to make sure that we are focusing on our own journey between now and the end of the season. Not focused on anything else, just us. And so I thought it would be a good opportunity and a good time for us to, as we did last week, where we talked to each other. And if you want to come on and share your thoughts as well, why not? I'll share the link with you guys if any one of you want to pop into the studio and share what advice you would like to give to the players. Last week, we gave our advice to Mikel Arteta. We talked a lot about fearlessness versus fearfulness, being ruthless, turnkey, not just kind of when it suits. Being unafraid in that fearfulness and fearlessness from a strategic point of view, from player selection, starting 11 subs, in-game management, all of that stuff. We talked about it, and so I felt we could do the same with the players. And I'll kick off mine, shall I? By the way, this week on Highbury Squad, we do face Brentford on Thursday. And so I have a little treat for you on Wednesday, I think it's going to be. It's going to be a bit of a Brentford background kind of day. So prepare for that. We have our favorite coming back, Natalie Sawyer, who's going to be joining us, who actually is going to be talking to the Brentford gaffer, I think, ahead of the game as well. So we'll get some insights there from Natalie. Very different Brentford team, you guys, to the one we faced at the start of this. I don't even know how long ago it was now, but either way, it's a very different team. I think if you guys remember, and you could go back and search for it, because it will be really interesting watching now in terms of Natalie's thoughts on her team, the thoughts on the league and where her team sat at the time, and how close, that kind of 6th, 7th position was at that, to 15th. How tight it has been. And so, she didn't feel like they had a chance in hell against us at that time. And she was right. And so now the tables have flipped. They're playing with a great deal of confidence. They have the opportunity to maybe, squeeze a European place. Keith Andrews having a lot better time than Thomas Frank right now. It's really quite an incredible, positive story. But also, I felt this way a little bit like Sunderland, a little bit like Leeds. At some point, their run will come to an end, and Arsenal will be the ones that are able to kind of deliver that. So we'll be talking to Natalie on Wednesday. So we'll get some good content for you with our chat with Natalie, and you guys can always chime in. If you have a question for Natalie, you can send it beforehand, thehighburysquad@gmail.com, and I will ask her the question. Also joining us before the game on Thursday, very excited about this one. Paul Buckle is going to return, as you guys know. Paul is our resident gaffer, previous gaffer of Bristol City and Luton Town, and former player at Brentford, and also former advisor at Brentford Football Club. And he will be bringing one of his ex-teammates along with him, Marcus Gale. Really excited for this football conversation. Marcus Gale, who is also previously of Wimbledon, and Brentford, just one of those names that pops up and has that 90s Premier League vibe to it. Brilliant brilliant stuff. So look out for those conversations. And yeah, we love Paul indeed. So check on the community page as to when those shows will go live. I will let you know. I'm pretty sure Natalie's will be going at an earlier time on Wednesday around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is indeed live, and this is why from now on, I think we will broadcast at this time. So listeners like Harvey don't pop into the chat and say, what's going on here? Is this live? Got to be better at that. My fault. Let's read out some of your comments and see what you have to say. And then we'll start sharing what our advice is for some of these Arsenal fans. But as Barry says, hit the early like button. You think Tammy won't miss the show? No, okay, let me stop waffling right now because I feel like that's been a 10-minute waffle, which I do very well. I'm very, very good at waffling. And kick off with my first piece of advice to our players. Now, there are some players who've been in this position before. There are some players who've never been in this position. One thing's for sure is that the majority of these players have not been in this position together. And, we can talk a lot about, courage and fearlessness. And we did all that with the Mikel Arteta stuff. With the players, I wanted to kind of dig a little bit more into vibe and experiential. I don't want to be Vibe FC. I don't want to be this happy-go-lucky, let's create signs and videos and do all of that stuff to try and get people excited and G'd up. You know how I feel about those hype videos. Not a huge fan at all. But I understand that there's a marketing team that likes to get social media engagement, and that's part of the game these days is all these videos. I want the players to just kind of keep it simple, if anything. And my first piece of advice to them is act like you belong. A lot of the times I felt at the start of the season, one of Victor Gyökeres's biggest issues was he had that body language of maybe feeling like he didn't belong at all. And we hear a lot of ex-players who have come on this show and talk about, wearing the shirt, the burden of wearing the shirt, what that means, the pressure and the stress that can carry. And, it is inevitable that when you jump up and you get a promotion that you're going to be nervous. You're going to want to make sure that you put your footprint on whatever is going on or whatever company that you're working for, but you don't want to tread on any toes. You know that you've got the talent, you know that you've got the ability to succeed and do well, but you don't want to be like a bull in a china shop. And I feel a little bit like Victor, when you're coming into a team of established players and you're the new guy who all the expectations are on, that comes with a bit of a hefty vibe and a hefty feeling. And so my first piece of advice to the players is to act like they belong. And it's not about being cocky and thinking that you have won. It's not about that. It's wearing the wins, wearing them in a way where and I felt like we did this against Sunderland. If I could capture in a bottle the ambiance and overall feeling I felt when we played Sunderland this weekend, was that it was professional, it was mature, it was routine. There was no angst. I didn't feel tremors. It felt like throughout the entire spine of the team, there was this confidence and it felt organic and real. And I said in the post-game show at the weekend that I felt like losing to Manchester United may actually become a blessing for this team. The people that think it's kumbaya, no. When you're faced with adversity, and many of us have been faced with adversity in our lives, whether it's work, whether it's health, whether it's family, whether it's love, things happen in life. When you're faced with adversity, how you handle that adversity is key to how you move forward, what you do in your world, your life, what you accept, um, what you what you think you deserve, all of that. And and I think this Arsenal team took on that loss and in the adversity have come out of it a- awakened, right? Because that performance against Sunderland to me, and you can nitpick and people can take what they want from it. I thought it was an exclamation point, a dotting of the I's, a crossing of the T's. And there was this kind of calmness and a navigation of the game that felt a little bit more elite in the mental state. And I felt like our team acted like they belonged in that moment and in that game. And Victor Gyökeres to come on off the bench and score 2 goals. Martinelli, who had been much maligned, coming off the bench, having the impact he did, didn't go as well for Madueke, but he acts like he belongs on the pitch and he's willing to take risks and he tries things and they may not work, but it puts us in a position sometimes where, through failure comes, good things as well as, learnings and stuff like that. I just felt like the entire team acted like they belonged in that whole moment and that there was no fear of the outcome of that game going forward. That's my first one. Act like you belong, and I felt like they did, and I hope that they continue to do that as well. Let's get this one from Barry. Such a long way to go, and the noise, media, hype, etc. will build, especially as League Cup final approaches. So don't waste energy overthinking each twist. Just the next game. Do your routines. Don't have an issue with that. But I will put this one up, which you may disagree with, which riffs off a little bit of what Barry is saying. You've got to cut out all the nonsense and all of it. But don't shut it down. Don't stay off social media. And to those listening on our audio platform right now, I'm actually showing a kind of a smiley picture of Big Gabby and a little bit of a gritty, one of Saliba, who is the banter guy in the team. I don't know if there's anyone who celebrates a goal better than William Saliba. It is a beautiful thing. He's everybody's hype man. And there is no stopping him from having a good time when he celebrates a goal, which will come up in another one of my pieces of advice to the players. But don't stay off social media. I actually think that people think our players are super weak mentally, right? And unfortunately, we've given the ammunition to prove that in the past, yeah, that's who we have been. I also think that you've been dealing with a Manchester City team that is mentally just built, and has been built to win over a period of years now. And sometimes you succumb to that. But I I believe that if you know what's going on around you and you're in tune with it, you can just have fun with it. It doesn't become a burden, right? It doesn't become some, you know, chain, this weight like an anchor. It becomes something that you actually utilize as a fuel and as a tool and as a base to just riff off, whether it's in the dressing room, whether it's laughing and joking over lunch or whatever it is around the Arsenal cooler, that you guys are just utilizing whatever is happening on social media as a garbage disposal, recycling bin, you know, just in, out, and see it. You're on a journey. These players are on a journey. They're on a journey to win something and win something big. And they don't want to miss moments either, right? So they're going to be criticized and they're going to be lauded on social media. You either inject all of that as an athlete, as a professional, and ride the journey and the wave and take the good and take the bad and lean on each other when it gets a little bit too much, you know. And the disgusting part of social media, we're not talking about that. But these memes and the banter and all of that stuff, I wouldn't shy away from that. I would laugh at it and I would share it with my teammates. Social media can't be a tool that others say, oh, they read this and they read that and it's weak. The Ruben Amorim way of handling a player mentality to me should be in the garbage disposal. Utilizing Gary Neville, bringing him up, bringing up Paul Scholes, bringing up ex-players, all of that stuff, just garbage, nonsense excuses, right? There have been ex-Arsenal players like Tony Adams. Don't shy away from that. Martin Odegaard never shied away from that. We shouldn't shy away from that. Tony Adams wants to say what he wants about Martin Odegaard. He's corrected himself. If he doesn't correct himself and you're not paying attention to that, you miss it. I missed it. So I think there's a way to embrace the chaos as well as quiet the chaos. And I just don't think that you should be afraid of what's being said or what's being written, because I think if you are and you let that seep into your DNA, that's when the mental fragility kicks in. How you digest that, how you handle it has everything to do with if you make a mistake on the pitch. Things happen in football. Steven Gerrard slips and doesn't slip, and Liverpool are champions. John Terry's penalty kick in the Champions League shootout, inches, all of that stuff. I think it's part of mental maturity and being able to handle the spotlight and the heat, and when it comes and what's said, how it's being said, who it's being said about, all of it. The real Charles says, let them do the talking. We all do the supporting week in, week out. Cheer every pass, every tackle, every pass. We keep pushing on until the last day. Regardless of the blips, the trophies will come. I totally agree with that. Tammy still says, I don't know why Neville still has a job on Sky with his past comments. He really has been atrocious. He really has been absolutely atrocious. And by the way, I should get it for you right now. Another part of our housekeeping is there's an article that Patrick has just written on the Highbury Squad blog called The Commentary of Contradiction. And I'm going to put the link in here right now, and you guys should read it. And I think now we've gotten to a point where it's like what I was saying about don't stay off social media, utilize it. We now are utilizing what's happening as a content piece to say we're not frazzled. We've been afraid for the last 3 years. What is there to be afraid of anymore? Not winning again? We know how that feels. We know what it's like. We know what they're going to do, and we know what they're going to say. So it's time to turn the tables and laugh and point the finger at their pathetic attempt of creating content and headlines and genuine engagement where you want football fans to relate to who's on your screen, what they're saying, how they're saying it. And there's different flavors for everybody, right? And there's so much content these days. But I think we've turned the corner as a fan base. I have. And I spoke about this maybe just before Christmas about not caring what they say, still highlighting it and talking about it, but it doesn't bother me. I'm not bothered by Gary Neville's commentary over the weekend. It's unprofessional. It's laughable, And I do stuff and have done stuff for Sky in the past, and I just think this is breaking. Like this approach, this yelling, the talking heads, all of it. People are seeing through it, past it, beyond it. Right? There's nothing wrong with quick fire videos on TikTok and all of these other platforms, and when it's ex-players who've played the game saying these things, they know that it's nonsense. Paul Scholes knows how hard it is to win a Premier League title. Let's be honest. He does. You know what it does show you, to me, and because it is really the Manchester United players, it shows you how much they hated us back then and how much they feared that Arsenal team and how much they hate that we've progressed and evolved with an ex-player who, let's be honest, wasn't as legendary as their status at their club. Yet Mikel was captain at Arsenal, doesn't carry the same gravitas as a Paul Scholes or a Gary Neville did at Manchester United. But he's totally revolutionized Arsenal. Arsenal were more valuable to the media when they were broken. Arsenal are not as valuable to the media successful. They are to their fan base, and whether they realize it yet or not, they will be to many YouTubers. I find that we do so much better when we're winning, but Arsenal are a greater asset to the ecosystem of new and old media when they're on their knees. That's what they like. That's what they want. They can't believe that we're getting close again. And it shines a light on the other clubs too, because it's expected of Manchester City and it's been expected of Liverpool since Klopp came back into the English football world. But if Arsenal do it, what does that say about Manchester United? You know, what does that say about Chelsea these days? What does it say about all these other clubs? We're the disruptor, even though we're a legendary club and a massive club that have been and won everything. But football moves quickly. It's cyclical. We haven't won in 22 years now, and we've got to prove ourselves all over again. It's like we're the rookie on the street, right? It's kind of like Rocky. So we're so much more valuable when we're bad. And they know that. So even though we won at the weekend and we beat Sunderland convincingly and we look great for all the reasons I said at the top of the show, it was like we lost. I felt like, what is going on here? Am I going mental? Did we lose and City won at Anfield? I don't get it. Like 9 points clear. It's just 24 hours earlier, right? 9 points clear. This is going to drive you crazy. This is what I'm talking about, right? City were a shadow of themselves just 2 weeks ago. There's no way they're going to catch Arsenal. They don't have the depth. They don't have the squad. Mayhem at Anfield. And the next thing you know, Arsenal, can they hold on? Can they hold on? There's no respect. There's none of that. None of it. And it will never exist and it will never come to life or fruition for this Arsenal team or Mikel Arteta until we win the Premier League. I actually don't even think we'll get that respect if we win the Champions League, because they'll talk about, you know, teams like Carrot but the Premier League, undeniable 38 games. So this is a really interesting kind of moment for Arsenal. Let's see. Marina Krasowski, please stop talking about changing the capacity mid-season. It will only upset the feeling we have in the team at the moment. All we need to think about is winning every game we can, do what we want to. What do you mean? Maybe I'm missing something on that one. Maybe you can explain to me. Let's see. Kira O'Leary says Monday Night Football is still very good. Sky have seen what Keane has brought in terms of views and they've leaned into it. No one's talking about the analysis in the studio, because I think there's really good dialogue and conversation when certain players are involved. But the screaming like a 16-year-old boy or girl, or when things are happening in a game, in a moment, and some of the things you say, and why you say them, how you say them, what you want to come of what you say, they're not idiots, right? They're not. So yeah. Let's see. Cliff revolutionized MA. No, Wenger revolutionized the Arsenal. MA still has one sod all. Get me a league and get me a Champions League, then maybe we can talk about revolutionary. He's okay. I respect your opinion. He's been evolutionary though. Does that suit you better? Arsenal were on its knees. The club was broken. The players were apathetic. The fans were disengaged. We didn't really love any of them. And Saka and Emil Smith Rowe emerged, and there was something to kind of scratch and sniff at that maybe was of interest. And then that grew, and Emery played them more, and the team evolved from there. And then Mikel came in. Everything changed. I mean, I would say it's actually revolutionary and much more than evolutionary. You want it to end in winning. And of course, everybody wants it to end in winning, but you can't deny what has happened since Mikel has taken over. And it's as revolutionary as George Graham and Wenger without the end product yet. The reason why we say those things is because those managers have the end product. If Mikel delivers the Champions League, he would have delivered something that Arsene and George never did in their careers. Let's see. What do we got here? David Yankuru says, my advice to the players is to look at themselves, stay fit and available for the selection. Players should believe more that they are capable of winning every game because they truly are. I like that. Seb says, hey, squaddies, I'm not able to attend, but for the players, I just want to tell them to ignore the noise, positive and negative. Tap into what makes them show up every day, friends, family, and staff. Excuse me. Peter says, what I'd say to the players is just focus on your next game and ignore the others. Burmy Gunner says the outcome of this season remains in our hands. That is very true. Denverite says, did not understand the words spoken or sung during the halftime show. Okay. James says it was more soup than Super Bowl. Arsenal Manic says it's better than City won versus Liverpool. We don't want to be handed the PL title. If we can't win with a 6-point advantage, then we don't deserve it. Let's see if this team can pass the test. And the other thing too about that title number 14 that I think is really important is when teams go on to win leagues, right? They did something, City, yesterday that they hadn't done in a long time and that Haaland hadn't done at all. That's significant. Like that win for Manchester City was really significant. And it's a galvanizer. It's a motivator. It's an inspirational thing. You've got Pep talking about, world issues 2 or 3 days before, sounding like he's ready to move on from Manchester City and become a philosopher, footballer, trying to change the world. And then 2 days later at Anfield, his team mixes up the title race again. Just when you think it's over, it's not. And that's what this Manchester City team do. They lead you into a false sense of security, right? Just when you think you've got them, the wounded animal, beware the wounded animal. And that's happened to us now. But this is the season to change that. You have to change the outcome. You control the strategy right now. 6 points clear, and you still have to play them at theirs. And just as it was a monumental change of events for Manchester City at Anfield against Liverpool and for Haaland, it needs to be the same for Arsenal at the Etihad. You have to win that game. You have to win that game. Demsek says 37 years ago was the last time City did the double on Liverpool. That's big. Those are significant things to overcome in a title race. And despite how poor Liverpool were, Manchester City still, you have to find a way to take advantage. And I agree with Newman here about Gahey. I think that is a game-changing transfer. The confidence that he brings to that back line. And Donnarumma made a couple of saves yesterday that were insane. Yeah. And Marina says it was about changing our captain mid-season. I just want people to stop talking about that. Well said. And I too put the kibosh on that in the post-game show at the weekend. Forget about it. Let's see. Benno Jeden says, do what they're doing already doing. Arteta keeps saying we take it one game at a time. Yes, I agree with that too. Jonathan, big up. So if Arsenal fans stay composed, embrace the pressure. Vlodkostar says, City wins, we lose points Thursday. Can't imagine what Highbury Squaddies show will turn out. What the hell? Who took the jam out of your donut? Crikey. You can't be an Arsenal fan. All right, we'll leave it at that, shall we? Denverite says, I don't have any advice, but I've got a plea. Please do not choke again for the 4th consecutive time. Cincinnati says, watch out for the narratives used for engagement. And let's see, what else do we have? AFC DMB says they'll still concede chances. It isn't the same City. You know, I've heard this so much. It isn't the same City all season, but they're still only 6 points behind, and they haven't played great football at all. And some people would say that we haven't played great football. I think we've played really incredibly strategic football, very, very well, and executed our game plan like really well. But you know, it's you know what, Sampedi, the table doesn't lie. So if that was a game between 2nd and 6th, and I said that on the show on Sunday, over 38 games, the table doesn't lie. I know that there've been the odd 1 point, winning the title by 1 point or goal difference by 2 goals. Team did that in the past. The table doesn't lie, and that Harvey, I was thinking this yesterday, taking that goal away from them. All of these things that you think about. And it's true. Weirdly, Manchester City are also on for a quad, and no one's talking about that. Nobody is talking about that. And to add, Jonathan says, Ekatike missed a lot. Ekatike turned into Darwin Núñez yesterday. What the hell happened to him and Wirtz? So this is why one of the other key things for us, goes back to those 3 principles we talked about: consistency, depth, mentality. Consistency is massive. Consistency is what I think a player like Victor Gyökeres has shown, but with no appreciation. Consistency is what these two show, Big Gabby and Saliba. Consistency is what one of the signings of the season, Zubimendi, has been. Consistency is Declan Rice showing up every single game, becoming more powerful and stronger as the game goes on. I mean, he's just an incredible, incredible player. Consistency is Urian Timber. We have consistency. Now we need closure. And that's the difference. Okay, let me get my 4th one. So we had number 1 was Act Like You Belong. I'm not on number 2. I'm not even on number 3. Number 2 is Don't Stay Off Social Media. And for me, number 3, Be Spontaneous. Be spontaneous. Don't be afraid. And there's a reason why I'm using Madueke on this picture. And there's a lot of Arsenal fans that have poo-pooed this signing from the get-go. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that kind of saw the quality. It's undeniable, his goal against Bruges. I've said that if we had Madueke's build-up and Saka's finishing and morphed them together, we'd have almost like the perfect player. His end product isn't as great, but he takes risks. He takes chances. He tries to make things happen. He does not go hiding in games. And I love Noni for that. I really do, because I feel like when he's on the pitch for the time he is, anything can happen. And I think that's important to have in a side. And spontaneity should not be extracted from players. Spontaneity is part of football. And I think that football as a whole right now, Premier League, maybe some of the other leagues in Europe, the spontaneity has been trained out of players because there's so much at stake. There is a lot of risk involved in modern day football, and most of it is based around monetization and being fiscally robust, not being a team that gets relegated. If you're a top team, being a team that wins, qualifies for the Champions League, blah, blah, blah. We know all of that. But there still has to be a spontaneity in football, a creativity, right? And that's the beautiful part of why we enjoy football as fans, is because we've enjoyed that in the past. And we've been a team that has, fostered and encouraged that type of creativity and spontaneity. Um, you know, whether it was Perez, whether it was Freddie, whether it was Liam Brady, Dennis Bergkamp, Ozil, Sanchez, Cazorla, Jack Wilshere. Spontaneity is important. We've always had a player in the team who could do that. And you need that. And you saw in the game against Manchester United, Manchester United beat us because there was an element of spontaneity to how they played us. They, firstly, were unafraid. Secondly, they took risks. Thirdly, they had joy. And fourthly, they believed in each other. And the manager allowed them the freedom to express themselves. I.e., in a game, if X happens, I want you to do Y, Z, and then go back to A, B, and C. Whereas Michael Carrick is a little bit more, if this happens, not like you guys decide, but there's an action to everything that happens on the pitch with Arsenal. You lose the ball, this has to happen here, that has to happen there, this player has to do that, and that player has to react in this way. Like the domino effect of losing the ball, here's 10 things. The domino effect of winning the ball, here's 10 things. Like, I know most teams are like that because you have to be prepared in order to win. But the spontaneity of the game still is magical. And that is something I think Manchester United are tapping into more than any other team right now. One, because they probably had to. But two, because they have a player who played in the 90s, who played with players like that and against players like that, who has a bird's eye view and has seen what's worked, what hasn't, and what the league is doing as a whole. You play to your players' strengths. Let them have their freedom as well as executing what it is you want them to do. But it's down to the players to take that risk. Look what happened in the Champions League against Real Madrid. Saka and Declan Rice, the two of them. Saka and Declan Rice on that free kick. Declan Rice felt it. Saka's like, let it fly. Players have to have the ability to be spontaneous. Cliff says this bunch cannot be spontaneous because it's coached out of them. They're more than capable of being spontaneous, but we're too robotic. But we are top of the league, so I have to go along and pray. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I hear what you're saying. Misunderstood Ninja says, make the most of the players. That's the key to winning. And Cliff, this is what I'm saying though about those players is you can, in a game, as long as it doesn't cost you the game, have the ability and the fearlessness to be spontaneous. Demsek says the Invincibles drew 12 games. Not every game is going to be pretty. Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Andy says players have become more equal and they fight for each other. No more 2-3 players that are being carried out of possession. Yeah. And there's always a superstar at a club. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Equal in carrying the burden of what the task is at hand. No one player is going to do the heavy lifting. We heavy lift as a team. We're equals. And that is, there's a lot of a truth to that. Harvey says United to finish above City is crazy. Like, seriously, when people talk about change and being afraid of change, there are a lot of Man United fans that wanted Ruben Amorim, afraid of what could be. They could see scratching the surface. Are we improving? Look what we're doing. Beating Manchester City. We're doing X. But Michael Carrick comes in, and whether or not this goes on, they've seen it before with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and stuff like that. I feel this is a little bit different because I feel they have better players. But the fact, can we talk about this? Is the thing I say to you guys. People want Arsenal Football Club is so big. We're so big. We're so big on social media, which is why they do what they do, why they create the content that they do. But if you were a journalist, like a real broadcaster, you wanted to tell stories. The story of Liverpool Football Club this season is insane. You are the defending champions. And it is complex. It started off complex for them in the summer and under tragic circumstances. But you buy 3 of the best players available in the market. One of them gone for the season. 2 up and down. And Manchester United, your biggest rival, the worst team, the worst Manchester United team in history, right? In the Premier League. And you're behind them. You're behind them. Manchester United are 4th with 44 points and Liverpool are on 39 points. And people want to point the finger at Arsenal and create stories about what we're not doing, or are we going to choke, or, 9 points to 6 points. It was always going to be 6 points. I mean, you start the game off. You're either going to win or lose. It's either this whole idea that we're in this privileged position that we're 9 points and that's it. It's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely insane to me. And Barry says, Liverpool are in a mess. They've prioritized too many attacking players. They messed up the centre-backs and the full-back recruitment. But the point is, hey, Potsy, how you doing, mate? Welcome. Thank you so much for your mini raid here. It's appreciated very much. I just don't understand it. I don't. And when you look at, they're in 6th. They're below Chelsea. They're below Manchester United. But they're below Aston Villa. That's the story of the season. People should be championing Arsenal. I mean, seriously, I know it's not the case. Listen, there used to be banter. There used to be rivalry in a different way, okay? You go to the pub, you have a bit of banter, you go for a meal, and then you're off. That's it. You're done, right? Banter is different now. It lives, it breathes, it exists. It's in an ecosystem online that you can tap into and play and watch any time of day, right? But in terms of what Arsenal are doing, like, I think secretly fans of clubs want what Arsenal have. They want what we've done. They want a Mikel Arteta. They want all of that. Okay, so we haven't won the league in the last 3 years. The first year was an improbable year. The second year we should have won. And the third year we were riddled with injuries and the entire league was a mess and Liverpool ran off with it. They were the best team. This is the 4th year. David Healy has said in the 3rd year it's going to be tough. Now it's the 4th year. Which other team is challenging consistently like we have had? Liverpool, Manchester City, you expect this type of behavior from them. That's what they have fostered in the league. But people are so desperate to celebrate or want to celebrate this Manchester United revival, and they are also ready to revel in the demise of Arsenal. Tony is watching football sometimes, and she's not in it like we are all the time. And she says, she's like, I just don't understand it. She goes, why are they talking like that? I said, because it's going to rile you up and it's going to go make you post something and then it's going to make someone share it and then they're going to post and they're going to post. Like this waiting, this wanting of failure is incredible, of one team and then wanting, okay, the other to rise. Like, think about being a fan, all right, and of a rival club or any club. there are people that want Manchester City to win the title again, that don't want Arsenal to win it. I don't understand that. I don't. When City won their titles, when Liverpool had the opportunity, I was wanting Liverpool to win the title. You could call it a COVID title or whatever it is, right? You can't complain about Manchester City and the manner in which they conduct business or act as a club or don't act as a club and then root for that. You're rooting for all that you hate. Your disdain for what they stand for, what they've done supposedly, allegedly, how they conduct themselves, the monopolization, all of it. But yet, when it comes to Arsenal versus Manchester City, everyone wants us to lose and everyone wants them to win it, unless you're an Arsenal fan. And I don't get it. I really just don't get it. The Peter Schmeichel comment, another one, another ex-United player. Harvey, I'm telling you guys, Gary Neville, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, this all stems from that rivalry. This is why we were so upset when we lost to them 3-2. It all comes from those moments. It has been a long time since Manchester United had beaten us. It had been a long time since we'd played badly like that against them and lost. And it brought back all of the horrible memories, all of the insecurities of what it felt like to play against Manchester United. And we had done that to them over the last few years. So we gave them the ammo to return the favor to us. And it's their ex-players that are going on and on and on like this. That comes from somewhere. That comes from a more deep-rooted place. And that is all about the rivalry between us and them. The Keanes, the Vieiras, the Wengers, the Sir Alex Ferguson. So when anyone is in any doubt of what the true rivalry has ever been in the Premier League, it is Arsenal versus Manchester United. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's see. What do we have? Let's see. Twist 3DF says, to be honest, a lot of it isn't bothered about Arsenal and the team winning. People don't like the majority of Arsenal fans online. You know what? There's a lot of crazy folks from all fan bases online. And Arsenal get it in the neck. You know why? Because we don't stand for it. We defend ourselves. We defend because we know what we see and we see through it. So Arsenal fans are damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, right? If you're an Arsenal fan right now and you say, I feel it, we're going to win the league. Listen to you. Listen to what you're saying. Come on. It's the same crap every year. You know what? Actually, I don't think we're going to win the league. Listen to you. You don't know how to support your team. You don't believe. Bunch of bottlers. Did it. What do? Right? This is the problem. And it's insane. And it's really crazy. Albert in the chat. Hello, Albert. Yeah. It's crazy to me. It really is. Okay, let me get to... So, at number 1, we had Act Like You Belong. Advice to the players. At number 2, don't stay off social media. Number 3, be spontaneous. Number 4, have joy. Have joy. You know what? Being afraid doesn't really get us anywhere as humans. Whether you play football for Arsenal, whether you're challenged with health issues, whether you're struggling in school or at work, operating daily with fear within your soul is crippling. And I said to you guys, late November on a show, I'm done with being afraid. I'm going to enjoy this journey. I'm going to try and find joy in this journey. And I know that I can't be an idiot and come on here in a post-game show after we lose or play a certain way and celebrate that. But I am finding joy in this entire journey right now. Because you know why? If I don't, I'm going to miss it. No matter the outcome. It's like that line from Ferris Bueller, right? Life moves so fast. Blink once or twice and you'll miss it. And life goes by a lot faster than we think. Trust me. You get to 54 years old pretty quickly. I remember being in my 20s, 30s, 40s. Woo! Invincible. Forever. Yes. Things catch up fast. You got to have joy. Martin Zubimendi to me is a player that breeds this joy. His celebration, his smile, seeing him and Declan Rice together after his goal, his beautiful, beautiful goal against Sunderland. What an exquisite finish. He's joy to watch. And he gives joy when he plays. Big Gabby is joy. That guy has joy. And he transmits joy to fans. You could tell he loves playing for Arsenal. He's enjoying this moment. Him and Saliba together. I don't know who did this picture, but I've got to find out if it's my boy Guna Chris, Arsenal N7, or if it's someone else. But I'm showing a picture right now of basically Saliba and Big Gabby looking like James Bonds. Just checking their time. Checking their time there. Their watch. Just waiting to lift the trophy. Joy is important, you know. Martin Odegaard doesn't play with joy. He doesn't look joyous. And that doesn't mean he's not enjoying his football. Not everybody has a smile on their face when they do things. I mean, for how many years Victoria Beckham has heard people just call her a bitch because she rarely smiles, whereas her family and friends will tell you she's one of the funniest people that they know. Joy. And as fans, we've got to find our joy. Chief Like Officer, give it a like for our brilliant Soph. I appreciate you. Soph gets younger every year. Newman, you suck up. Curtis Painter says he misses Highbury. Don't we all? Let's see. A guy with a view says, I don't get into arguments anymore. Too many folks have fixed views. Nothing we say will change them. Let our results do the talking. I'm just going to go along for the ride. This is it. And this is where I don't want us doing all those hype videos. Just win games. Get 3 points. Win the league. Stop with the hype. Stop with all these videos. Stop with all of that. I'm totally with you. And you're right about arguing with people. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Shalari Library Television says, so I'm a very new football fan. I love your content, by the way. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I listen to the Football Daily, and all of those folks have been saying this is Arsenal's year. Firstly, a new football fan, that's a beautiful thing. An asset to the beautiful game. Well done. Thank you for finding Highbury Squad. Stick with us here. The squaddies will look after you. And just, stay away from a guy called Newman and you'll be just fine. Let's see. I'm not even going to talk about, have you noticed this year I'm not doing the referee stuff? What's the point? It's just ridiculous. It really is. Let's see. Sam Pady says, I don't blame Gary Neville for his views towards us. I also be mad if my bitter rivals won the league in front of me at Old Trafford. Very nice. Yes, I see what you did there. All right. So last one for you guys is be cold. Remember, you can have lots of characteristics that make you up as a person. You can have lots of branches to your personality that make up you as a human being. And we can talk about playing with joy, 100%, because playing with joy takes off pressure, takes off stress. At the end of the day, when the business needs to be done, be cold. Take no prisoners. Be ruthless. Even if it's, taking milk money off your best friend, you got to do whatever it takes. To me, Trossard and Havertz, Benjamin White as well, they're cold. They're like, especially Havertz, and I don't know, they're like teddy bears with a shotgun. I think when Havertz came to Arsenal, he brought a level of experience with him, but he also reintroduced Arsenal fans to the idea of shithousery and dark arts. And he's brilliant at it. So good. And it's so important. And Benjamin White learned from him too, I think. The most iconic picture of Benjamin is the one where he's looking down on Cucurella in 2 seasons prior. Coldness. Mikel's cold. Mikel has a ruthlessness about it. And how he deals with that ruthlessness will define his legacy. Because sometimes he chooses who he wants to be ruthless with. And we talked about that last week. Be universally ruthless was our advice to Mikel on last Monday Madness show. We want him to be cold. We want Saka, who I think has become a lot colder, evolving from star boy to star man. Think our new players who have come in, I think Gyökeres is evolving into some cold stuff. We'll see how that goes. Mosquera, coming in as a defender like him, never played in the Premier League at his age, having to deputise for 2 of the best defenders in Europe and playing like that. That's cold. Norgard, previous, Brentford captain, asking to be, to play at centre back. Cold performances. Cold. That's what we want. Ice. And Capier, growing into his role here right now at Arsenal. Some just, pure cold performances. And Declan Rice, the definition of all of and everything that I have said. We've talked about the spontaneity, plays like Madueke. We've talked about unsung heroes like Mikel Merino, who we're going to miss. Got to move on, next man up. Same with Calafiori. Stay fit. Super unsung hero. Urian Timber been brilliant this season. Just now on today's show, the joy of Zubimendi, that infusion into the team, what that brings. The growth of Gyökeres, acting like he belongs, not fearing what people are saying. Big Gabby seems to just play it brilliantly on social media, whether he's, teaching Richie Charlison lessons or bantering with whoever. Important. And the coldness. Havertz, Trossard. But everything, all of this circles back this season to one player. And that's Declan Rice. And my advice to this player would be don't change anything. Do what you do, Declan. And I think Declan can improve as the season goes on. These two, Declan and Zubimendi, oh man, do they complement each other or what? Has Zubi brought out the best in Declan, and is Declan bringing out the good stuff in Zubi? And I hate to say this out loud, but losing Odegaard from that midfield mix has just changed things. Bit more speed, bit more flair, bit more quickness, less sideways, less backwards, more positive, more forward thinking, more moving the ball forward. But that's not to say that Odegaard doesn't have a part to play in all of this, because they all have a part to play in our push for the title. Every single one of them. But Declan Rice, when I was putting the show together and I was answering my own question, what advice? Act like you belong. Don't stay off social media. Soak it up. Be big Gabby. Poke them back. Don't let them poke you. Don't let them bully us. Be spontaneous. Don't be afraid of players like Madueke. They could turn on a magic in a minute in a game, win you something. It's like the dude's making tons of mistakes and losing the ball and we're losing games and all of that. No, be spontaneous. Have joy. Be cold. Declan Rice, as I was writing, I'm like, this guy embodies all of it. This is a player that came, from West Ham. He feels like he's been at Arsenal his whole career. Hey, Lend. You do need personalities. You do need identifiers. You do need culture. You need all of that depth. This is why Saka's important. Don't think that you've got the answer, because other players are stepping up. We need Saka. If we're going to win trophies this season, we need him back. We need him healthy. We need him fit. We need Saka. Declan Rice feels like Mr. Arsenal. Feels like his team right now. And that's only because Saka's not in the team, because it is Saka's team. It's everybody's team. But I'm talking about now. You act accordingly and to what is in front of you now, right? So there's no Saka in the team. There's no Odegaard in the team. Right now, in this team, Declan Rice is the Don. He is the boss. He is the everything. He is the most important player, as well as Big Gabby and Saliba. Because right now, if you don't have Saka, you need your cornerstones, you need your backbones, you need your anchors, you need your lighthouse. These guys are it. And that's why, when I talk about I think Declan Rice can make responsible decisions on the pitch, like taking the free kick and not Nikola Jovering it against Real Madrid. That was a good decision. Make good decisions, stick together. But he is right now the nucleus of everything. All of it. So my advice to him is keep everyone in check. Make them do what you do and let them do what they do best. That's it. Stay the course. And don't get distracted. It's Rice's team right now, I think. Yes. Cincinnati says, Eza still looks like he's watching the game go by. Now, I think we're getting into a little bit of a Victor Gyökeres moment with Eza as well. Wow, I can't believe it's been an hour and 7 minutes. I told Tony I'm going to be half an hour. I said to her, I'll be half an hour. I'm going to be done. I've got 5 talking points and then I'm out. It's 1 hour, 8 minutes in and I'm still here. I hope that just didn't sound like one big long ramble. There's a lot to say and I have a lot to say because there's so much being said that is just nonsense. People can have their opinions and they can have all of that stuff. It's just like quite the chaos, right? This is about winning a title, winning games, nothing more, nothing less. Put the mayo and the mustard down. There's no agendas, right? I want this player performing like this way in a triangle because if he steps out of that flux capacitor and we lose speed, then the injection on the left flank won't flow into the 6-yard box. Wake me up when we win the Premier League. Like, let's not dissect this too much. This is 3 points. This is staying the course, the players being who they are, the manager letting them and managing the pitfalls and all of the challenges that come between now and May. That's it. That is it. All right. I want you guys to let me know what your advice is to the players. And next Monday we'll do a phone in. We'll do a Monday Madness phone in. And there's going to be a lot to talk about. Again, there is. Harvey says, we love you, Sofia Mo. Ευχαριστώ, Harvey. Να σε πάντα καλά. Ο Θεός να σε προσέχει. Basically what I just said is thank you, Harvey. Hope you're well. May God always look after you and each and every one of you as well. Make sure that you post your comments on YouTube. Don't forget, we've got Natalie Sawyer coming up on Wednesday. We've also got Paul Buckle and Marcus Gale, besties and former teammates as well at Brentford. So we're going to be doing a bit of Brentford stuff because Brentford have evolved and changed. And we're going direct to the source. We're going to Natalie Sawyer and we're going to Marcus Gale and Paul Buckle as well. So some superb guests. And of course, we'll have the post-game show after the big match on Thursday. There's some other things happening in football. We'll talk about them next time. I have comments that I'd like to make about the Eniloku stuff that's happening. Maybe we'll talk about that in another show. Huge congratulations to our women for beating Manchester City, the team of the season. That was a brilliant win. And I'm sure that we will have an Arsenal show coming up real soon with our women and talking about kind of what that's going to look like, you know. Unfortunately, I think we've left it way too late and not been great in the league this season, but hopefully we can deliver some cups and stuff. All right, kids. Hope you enjoy your evening. If your day and your evening is just starting, if you're going to bed, sweet dreams. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Make sure that you count Arsenal players if you're unable to sleep. And until next time, look out on the community page. I hope you enjoyed the show. Share your advice to the players too. Don't forget mine, act like you belong. Don't stay off social media. Be spontaneous. Have joy. Be cold. And I'll see you again for another show tomorrow. At East Squaddies, don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. Vesper, stop scratching. There's not a kibble there.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
By the way, I'm going to do a whole thing on this, on why we have to win the Carabao Cup more than ever now, Harvey. It's coming, all right? Newman, it's good to see you back, banter aside. And let's make that happen this week, Newman. Let's make that happen.